It was here in the CIO Cultural Hall Square that my favorite secretary, the brother-in-law, encouraged a series of young men who were on their way to the People's Women's High School. It wasn't a lot of people's home that went up in the storm after the catastrophe. Now, the whole world knows God's Day of Care, the downtown, and the Western District. From that day in July of 2024, when a terrible disaster struck, what is gone forever in this party? What is born again? I'm one of the quick thinkers of brain death in 2024 who went through the process before the victims and the people were rescued. And I was on a ride, and I was doing a lot of shooting in the affected areas. And I was really, real, right. Really much. I've been able to experience a lot. In fact, sometime after the oil crisis, the workers began to take care of the secretary-in-law. We've seen and heard about the damage to the country, and now we're in the CC area. He said it was too late to rescue the people. That's when the Honorable Secretary said no to the people of the area. Every single one of them. If you tell me everyone has to do this shit, I don't know if I'm gonna mess up the people's jobs. You're supposed to be in the middle of a rain-dropping flight when you're giving orders. He was wise in his rescue. I mean, even one of the last people in the high-to-food region. Send them away safely. Hollis is a bloke who's hurting his nose. I'm sorry for the loss of my brother's noble car. I can't forget today. In July of 2024, there were people here who had turned into a great sea in the spring. Why don't you've ever come here to find a place like this? A broken sea of tears lifted up. Today we're going to have a new house that can't be seen. It's an open ocean. It's a place where people from all over the country were ringed here in August of 2024. The main characters of the 10th story live. August 8th. You know the whole month of August, don't you? Yeah, it was hot. And it was our first night. But even if it's only a fan that's turned on, it wasn't the wind. It was the wind. You put this in our tent. He didn't listen and talk to us for a long time. Isn't it hard for you to live in your guest's home? It's not hard for us all. We are not real because you love us so much. He also had grandparents who knew about it every day. And he asked them, isn't it obvious? You'll have to dress her up so she doesn't get the idol. And then we had our daughter. And she said to our daughter, he said it was small and he replaced it with exactly the right kind of clothes. So that's why our paper. Thank you. Thank you. He told me to come and kiss you. But I'm not sure what you're talking about. We'll go to nice Dalva. I don't care about my mom, so I have a real father. My mother-in-law has a biological father. What kind of innovators did we do well? What's wrong with you? The feeling that you wanted to meet. Don't you hear anything from the food canopy? Where are you going to live now that you're locked up because you didn't know this? I built a nice house, and I walked in, and didn't feel jealous. And I looked good. The people we met with are now the old ones. The disaster island from generation to generation became the island of Laden. The room was full of poison that had no society beyond its original strength. Zoe and John Mattel alone, the people were all introduced in a disaster land. But what's important is that you give our people a place of happiness, and you give them a place of happiness. A place of happiness. A place for them. A place for them. A place for them. A place for them. Them. A place for 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 them. He sent these Lucifers and local analysts to help him keep his seat, and he wiped them out. Didn't our guest find us here on August 1st? Yeah. Didn't you look back at the construction site? I want you to use it here on August 1st, 2025. If you look at the horses, you'll see that this lubrication fat is now about to blow our people away. Sound is going to be thought like a horse. He also made a promise of love that he would not only remove the river of the sea, but also support the fishing grounds, the parks, and the yunch. You've been looking for this over and over again for 2025 years. In 2026, he was the first to come to the new escarpment, and he was the first to come to the construction of the original garden complex. How the young men sent their blessing to the military builders, a maintenance book. It wasn't more than 10 million people's home socialism to come up on the western side of the early world. In the hearts of the peoples of the country, belief in the party has become more and more firmly established with 100 million people. We're here today to talk about some of the most profound people in the Western world. We've been able to hear about our love for our orb, which has led us to a relaxed commitment to the fields like the sky. Today, there's no sign of a low-risk water substrate on the bridge, and there's no sign of a tent site you've been looking for. But the story of love in the hearts of ordinary people will never be built, and it will be kept even hotter. In the 5 years that have passed, the people are thinking again. It's the policy of the low-line Labour Party to pin people to their lives, to hold the people as if they were in the sky, to let go of all the things that are in their hearts and in their hearts that they long for. It's our party's towel business, each one of which counts on the towels of the people. And it's a blessing to us people to be drawn closer to the people in the heat of tears. Now there's an endless smile on people's faces, and a beautiful seed you bring. And that's what our party meant after the 8th generation of the party. The first onput of a historic ferocity of 50 fiction was the sound that our party was getting closer to the hearts of the people. People's vows, if they're the towels of our party, have proved that reality is soon the beginning of a promise that we're going to fight for. And about 5 years after that, every year in the capital, people's portrait rings were performing in a spectacular display. This part of the 80th and 80th afternoon of the 25th class of the Holy Spirit was located in 3 homes in April 2022. I've signed up. I was so thrilled. And they leave with great emphasis. And on the day before your completion, even in the rites of some of the sun's institutions, there's been a growing problem with housekeeping. A house built entirely from the Holy Grail. We're gonna have to give them to the people who've been living at home. The people who were struggling with the last house. Pick up this great house and sit down. When I heard how much you wanted to spend with me, it's like I'm the one who's been home and through my life. I was really crying at the thought of it. In March of 2022, you're dressed as the center of Suda, and you're beautiful. I want you to set up Kongdong at the famous table, and I want you to build this wonderful house for the common people. He gave me a hug. Only in my family did I receive a new home or a new home. He's my brother today, and I'm getting a new home like this. Today, you've got a man who's a designer, and you've got a doctor who's an MD. I got a niece, and as a common poet, I got a new home like this. We live in a new house or something in the path of this strange house. I never dreamed I'd be, and everyone who heard was amazed. I can't believe you're really going to be killed for nothing like this by ordinary intellectuals. No one thought about it. The more I thought about it, the more I thought about it, the more I thought about it, the more I thought about it. In God's eyes, the world is truly full of people. Every day, every meal about what we call a strange world. Oh my God, you're looking to protect her. Everything in my life my mother was by my side that night. Mother's family, our soldiers, on his way. Though I was a little nervous if I went wrong because I was old. As far as I'm concerned, the Indian Army has given it a chance to breathe. To breathe. To breathe. To breathe. To breathe, 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 breathe, to breathe, to breathe, to breathe, to breathe, to breathe, to breathe, she said. Did she have any home? So it's not me. Even if it wasn't a good house yesterday, it's a good house. He said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to bother you. We didn't make it home early. Don't you tell me you're sorry. No. Where did we get up and leave? Don't you tell me you're sorry. And when the people were adopted, and the people's devotions hardened. Our party's decision is to be shot with artificial laughter. It is to break the towels of the people, that our party may break itself into nothing. In the face of hardship, he was an indefatigable author who held fast to the trust of the people who had won the party. I stuttered for 5 years, and then I look back. In our country, who is the highest bidder? And what is our socialistic resurgency created for? The answer to all of this is only the one calling of the people. As the people demand to the people. In the case of the people, the discontented party, if anything can be done for the people, it's the mother who's pulling the next world to this day. We are honored to be the mother of the Great One, who has been reminded of the 5 years that we've been searching for, and of the moon's beloved people. Keeping the people's monolith in trust with our party's party is part of the capital, trying to side with the higher threats for the people, and the more noble support of the city's prime minister. It's not just a few decades, it's just 5 years of miraculous vision. For 5 spring years, the people had bigger dreams, new hearts, new hearts. For the sake of the people, God has more dignity and rewards for the people. It's the first week of the public's ideology that brings us to the 3 great eras of change that have been realized in the previous year. 5 years of shining eggs and moons in the name of the people that have passed. But in the next 5 years, our rails will flow through the years of the eternal people. Its quality is in the time of the Yule song, and the flower a million, and the Indian army, the hero of the people, and the mark of the... the hand of my arms. There are many, 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 many hundreds wars that have been grown in the fields of our country, and that have been grown in industry. So this time, Bozosi, we're going to talk about how we're wearing health benefits, and we're going to talk about a very high boson protein content. Dragosomase protein content is said to be 3 times as high in perimeters compared to normal South Seas or fruit, more than 20% of the base. And especially protein-generated amino acids are very good, but they contain all the essential amino acids that are vital to the life of the human body. They're also very rich in vitamins and minerals of all sorts. It's not only a piece of food that's joining these rich components, but it also has the value of being a drug that acts as a clear positive. The bow sources do the right-hand anti-rocking. It's because there's a lot of polypods in it that are decomposing the growth of the cancer cells in bosses. The polypods in the infantry are the ones that are active in the body's metabolism of matter. It's about helping function, and it's effective to prevent the diseases that are recited to Jesus. In particular, the shrine is much more joined than the others. The shrine of the caste. And Rio, who is now known as the most important drug in the city line, is also here. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Botany is also said to be effective in preventing pneumatics. The polixes in the liquefy act as a means of preventing pneumatics and damaging blood pressure. Bosorism is also very good for prevention and treatment of obesity, where it's low methodity. In nature, there's food footing and jaw braces, and it's important to have good hands here. If you're addicted to abdominal sauce, you're going to have nausea, stomach pain, or about an olim. And in severe cases, you're going to have life. The fugu sauce, which comes out of the natural stone, is made up of a jewel in the shape of a jeweler's horn, unlike the gemstone. And the bottom of the jewelry bag is like a pocket, and the color is very large, whereas the smell and taste of the jewelry is bad. And so we're talking about a basoro and basokas, and they don't tear. When you're thin and cut, you're in a forest like milk. So far, we've seen the capacity of the bow sources and the wearing of custom. This is Mr. Choi Hyun-ho, head of the military. He's a scholar who specializes in human ethics and virtue. A short time ago, he wrote a newspaper saying that before he learned knowledge, he needed to know morality. And there was a huge social response to that. So today, I've invited Mr. Choi-ho to come to Ayun Dandan. People want to be who they are, and they want to be who they are. and they want to be who they are, and they want to be who they are. I've got command, and I've got people, and I've got people, and I've got people with me, 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 me, and I've got people with 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 me. They want to live with respect. And of course, the intellectual level that he covered. The social command that he had. He had. You know. No, he had, you know, 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 he had. No, he had, you know, he had, you know, he had, he had, you know, you know, he had, you know, you know, he had, 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 no, he had, you know, he had. It can be an indicator of personality evaluation. That doesn't mean there's no morality. In other words, someone who's not morally prepared. You can't say you're a person. The separatist who's isolated is the one who's neither virtuous nor well-behaved. Even if I had a gift, I'd be seen as a drunk anywhere. He said, without virtue, people have a lot of knowledge, a lot of talent, a lot of it. You can't get this respect from a human being. Morals are what we all know, not on the top of any external compulsion or control. It's a social norm of behavior that is self-aware by conscience. The difference between moral norms, and distinctions is that they're self-aware on the basis of conscience. There are 4 fundamental differences in the norms of behavior that are observed. The conscience is the lawgiver, elected by mankind. That's why conscience is in the law. It's not just that you always talk about being an adult. Isn't that supposed to mean anything to you? Yes, you're an adult. In my life, he's morally inclined. I saw people who couldn't act. He doesn't have a conscience. He doesn't have a conscience. I often say, I've been talking about my conscience. It reminds me of one story in France. It's not like the famous Coroid said to his friends. There's a saying. So, the fairest thing in the world, the one that's distributed, is probably just positive. Same thing. Everyone knows what they're doing. Nothing. Nothing. I don't know. 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 I don't. I don't. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. 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 He's got no conscience. He's got no conscience. He's got no conscience. He's got no conscience. There's not a single one who says he's going. I think it's really grown up. People don't have a conscience. When you hear this, you're being accused of insulting yourself. I'm going to do it on my own. And I'm going to do it on my own. Yes. That's his conscience. That's what he's talking about. And he's beautiful as a person. And so we can do great things. You can say it's a driving mental force. When I hear your story, it's something I know. I think of a woman. I think of a woman. So it's almost 40 now. Age pois ton. Age posigi. Age pasha. Kandinstote. Age budka. But all the time in your life, you're bright. And when you get up there, it's always going to be with us. It's very important for us to give our seats to loins. It's almost like being really organic and very rich. And that's the nature of the habit. So once I was accompanying him in that trick. I once said a compliment. You're gonna light up the face of that voice. He was talking about his college days. So when I was a college student, he used to ride an underground car once. I'm in a subway car. I'm in a car. I'm sitting here. I'm on my way. Next time we go to the Honoran Bath. The first door opens, and there's a guy coming in. It's coming in its own direction. Now that I see you in front of me, I'm going to have to compromise. You said you were having a hard day, and you thought about what you'd do. I thought I was gonna drink. I thought I was going to study, and I opened up my book. I'm trying hard to read a book, and I'm just trying to imitate it. And I'm going with stone. Oh yeah, well, I can't be comfortable. Suddenly, I heard the voice of my grandfather, Rutcher, in wood. My grandfather, who can't stand it, who's trying to overthrow me, is sitting there right now, in the middle of it. All of a sudden, my grandfather's sound is the same. Move. Move. Because they're blocking the lights? How do you think they're looking at the oysters? So you're telling me you don't notice when you're playing? So he just walked out of the way. So he's a college student, and now he's probably got a good view of the oyster. And he said, he really couldn't thank me for saying that he was wrong at that moment. I didn't want to yield one place, so I twisted my conscience. You're such a big contrast to what you're supposed to be when you're pointing at a book. I'm not sure if I'm going to interfere with that college student's studies. In front of your clean heart, I really fell down on my head. A person should not always act out of conscience. From the moment my conscience was in time, it takes away the value of being a human being. You've cut this place down. That's why you always touch them. I didn't know he was leaving the sand. I've always felt like I didn't care about them. It's a habit to protect the wing flaps. When I got here, my face turned red. That's why I was talking. There's a saying. The man who breaks his conscience becomes a man. A man who values conscience becomes a man of the opposite sex. It's a love within and out of the family with a feeling of gratitude. I'd like to do a little bit of evaluation of that stroke. The conscience is invisible. And then I'm gonna find out if he has a conscience. We don't know. Do you still have a conscience toward your own qualifications? I can do that. I don't know what he's doing or what he's doing or what he's doing. He's in charge of himself. One of my friend's stories about medicine. I'm going to do a little bit of it for you. I got married, and one day, a man meets her as an introduction. But when I met her and her enemies, and that woman died, and her mother died. It's a very precious drug because it's sick all of a sudden. I'll tell you what, I'll take my precious medicine. I'll take it. 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 I've met the bachelor now. So we talk to each other. I'm taking a ride in Gongdi, and I'm going in the direction of that woman's house. I was on my way. One of my exponents lost his mind. He's down. Maybe when it comes to cyclic disease. And I saw, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people in that car. It's all embarrassing. It's a prison or a prison. But it's obvious it's in the car. Don't you think? Well, there's drugs. There's no sign of her. And she's embarrassed. This girl hasn't heard anything over the years. And then he found the drug he was looking for. I quickly got it out and took the drug that I was getting. So this is how we're going to do the first thing we need to do. I'm gonna pull up, and then I'm gonna take the drug that I was looking for, and I'm gonna take it back to the hospital. We have a lawsuit. My friend next to me saw it on the cloth. And he said, the medication his mother was looking for right away. How could a sensitized mother write it like this? He said, I'm sorry. I mean, you know the whole thing, your mother's illness. I'm in the middle of someone who's going to fall right in front of me. Don't let it get to you. I'll pretend not to know on my conscience. You can't go through it, or you can say, I did. And as soon as I hear that, he's so moved. So I got off on the way back to where I was going. He's braved his cell phone with his comrade. I get the same drug again. I'm going after him. He's coming home. She knew she was home. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure you're gonna meet the guy who introduced me to you. The man who introduced me knew him, Mother. It's really nice to see you. It's okay, Mother. I keep going, and then I go home. I've been in the middle of a lot of trouble, and I haven't been able to get my medicine. I don't know what's going on. I was talking to my mother. That's what he'd been hearing all the time. That was really good. A person has to have a conscience like that. It's a bad conscience. And you're unhappy and in pain. Whatever it is, it's a man without conscience. That's why my father told me that he wanted her to take this conscience. And with the joy of telling you how much I love you, even though she didn't bring her meds. The family praised him. As I was feeding the scene, my friend said, this house is a very windy place. Your home. I must live with this girl. After he lost his family, he said to himself, we're a family that is so united and cohesive. We're gonna have to raise our kids and teach them how to live in Seoul. I don't want to go out there and work very well. It's a very high national order. That's what I'm talking about. This is the guy who's still working. Real love, third generation love. People, property. I'm not against it. It's a man against the strike. It's like real love. I'm against the strike. I don't know. There's a feeling, but against the blow. In the end, I thought you would treasure your conscience. And that's what makes it so much more toxic. The one who does the right thing. That's what everyone is doing today. They evaluate it, they admire it, and they save it. He's such a respected character. But it turns out that in our lives, there's no such thing as acting without a conscience. Oh, it's partially in there. I was a carpenter, and one day, in a store. You go in there, you do this kind of shopping. And then you go to the store. I went in, and that's when the store came in. But the young man who bought things in front of me, a gentleman bought a piece of shit and made it happen. This is how I paid the dues. I gave her an electronic bill, and she said that she was a pre-operator. The signal sounded. So we have the holy money. I went out before I knew it. You know I'm busy selling with the bacilli. 5 minutes, 10 minutes don't God, yes. And then you throw it all away to get it. It didn't turn out to be holy money. As I played the music, it's not being filled, just a signal in the middle. I went out and cancelled it. At one point, the young lady was so, "You don't have a conscience." It's not about lying down. For a few minutes, she's her own. I was good at character. That's why you don't have a conscience about what you're doing. I'm really ashamed of you for selling it. You need to know how to do it. That's what the latecomer would do. Without self-awareness, it could be even worse. No, sir. That doesn't mean you have to keep this conscience. That's not what you're going through. Yes, I've always been able to get back to him about his behavior. I thought you'd feel guilty because you were wrong. You just have to give them a sense of shame. So nature values conscience. It's going to be done, then it'll go out more virtuously. You don't just lose your conscience. You will not lose human nature. The fact that we don't lose our humanity can be very virtuous. That's it. The height of character is higher. It's not just about the character and social appearance of people. It's an important and serious issue that governs the fate and spread of our type of socialism. To hold on to socialism and promote superiority, I don't think it's the only way to be protected by external control. The virtue that is protected by people's conscience is a more important role. Now, the modern living quarters in cities and rural areas are doing a lot of work, and the owners of new homes are getting older. There's a lot of business going on in this country where people are building multiculturally different houses to suit their tastes. So at this time, we're going to talk about some of the problems that we need to know in building a house. The answer is yes. If you look at the houses that have recently been discussed, you can see a couple room, a kid's room, and 3 children, and a family member. It's characterized that the rickety was placed around a joint living room. We're going to have to make all these living quarters beautiful, and then we'll have the opportunity to finish it. It's very important. The bottom of the table is marked deadlines, nimble, silk, tiles, etc. You can hear it. And one of the most common sources here is the lysing. You can hear the release of something that we call reza in the Hunig life. There's a lot of different kinds of publicity, and it will be very interesting to note that the thickness is less than 2 millimeters thick. There were places where the connections overlapped about 3 centimeters. And because it's thick, and the wheat is larger than that, because of the thickness of this connection. It's important to use glue to hold on to each other and make sure they're done. Depending on the season, you can put in a section of the 4 generalities, and you'll be able to place silks or hotspots. It's also the material that we use a lot as we build our own house. So he can use it for his entire body, for a shared room, before he gets laid. You have to put up the humidity and put on the pulsating so that